just do question and answer if that's okay with you guys. Is that cool? Okay. But for it to work, someone has to ask a question. Okay. In what book will we find out who fixed Little Chicago? Probably not till 19 or 20. Right in there. Probably, actually, I'm a lazy writer. Probably 20. I think that'll be a bit of for the last of the case file. So I'll come to that one. Okay, the question here is I had originally said that Changes was about the midpoint of the series, and that he asked if earlier plots had kind of pushed the midpoint later, and if so, did it mean we were going to get more of the series before we got into the novel? And the answer to that is the midpoint of the story is not necessarily the geographical midpoint. The midpoint of the story is sort of where things really get good. I was just so confused when After Changes came out, and there was a little bit of reaction. And I couldn't understand it because not all of it was happy, and I was like, but come on, man, he's dead. Now we need to do the good stuff. And I guess we'll see how that works out. I occasionally forget that not everybody knows the whole story. Yeah, right here. Any more chances for another Dresden series like on TV? I am willing to forgive Hollywood for killing the show when it did, and for The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I'm just saying, if you've ever held up the posters, and I'm just saying, if it had been anyone but Nick Cage, I might not have thought twice about it. I mean, come on. The one person in Hollywood the one actor in Hollywood that I actually know has read the series, except for Valerie on the TV show, the woman who played Murphy. She was the only one in the cast who actually read the books. And I came up and started geeking me about them, when I got to go visit the set. So it's like, she was cool after that. Like, some people complained that she wasn't blonde. Like, nah, she's cool. She read the books. Right here.
This may be a silly question, but I'm wondering if you're familiar with the website TV Tropes, and if you were, if Bob turning orange and blue is a reference to one of those.
Am I familiar with TV Tropes, and is Bob turning orange and blue a reference to one of them? The answer to that is yes, I'm familiar with TV Tropes, but only because somebody said that you got put on there as one of the guys who is in the definition of doing crowning moments of awesome. And I was like, okay, I will ego surf that. Yes, just a moment. Let me look at that thing. But as far as the orange and blue thing, there's no specific reference that I know of. Blue and orange morality? Okay, now I have to go look. It's probably one of those things that just got ingrained into me while I was watching, who knows what, Voltron or something. I always think that I think to myself, I come up with something so cool and original. And, like Bob the Skull himself as a character. Oh, that's so cool and original, I thought to myself for a long time. Then I sat down with my son one morning and watched the opening credits of old Scooby-Doo. Said to myself, oh man, I'm not nearly as cool as I thought. And then I watched the second reel of Last Unicorn. Man, I was so cool a few minutes ago. Close. The question is, she read the short story from Marcone's point of view, Even Hand, and that I noticed that she knows that John Marcone was not actually his real name. Is that going to be significant? Sure is. If somebody tries to cast a spell at him using the name John Marcone, yeah, that'll be a big deal. But we'll have to see how that works out. Actually, the character is really, really interesting is the Mirror universe of Marcone, and we'll get to him in a few books. But anyway, back to that.
Are any of your places like Max Positive based on real places?
Are any of my places like Mass places based on real places? No, except for the ones that are based on real places. For example, the Field Museum, where I've actually been now. I've got a picture of myself thumbing right in front of Sue. And the big aquarium, the shed aquarium that they have there by the Field Museum, which where I have to go stand by the big windows, look out on the big tanks with the whales and dolphins going by and so on. Just so you know, if you're there and you ask them, hey, what would happen if these windows were broken? No, I mean if like somebody shot them out or something. No. I need to know it's for professional reasons, and they do not have a sense of humor. But just so you're aware, But right. Am I thinking about writing a 7th book in the Alara series? If I go back to Alara, it'll probably be years from now, and I'll need to pay off my gambling debts or something, a good reason. And I would probably go back. I would either go back a couple of generations in the future, and where we would see a much steampunkier Alara after the guys arcading after messing the place up. Either that, or I'd also give consideration to kind of writing the incredible troublemaking A-team of cursors that Aaron has to put up with, where one of them's a Cannon and one of them's a Marat, and so on. They've kind of got a Justice League of cursors causing trouble, but it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a story that's on the same kind of let's animate mountains and smash the world kind of scale that the first one was. So I wouldn't want to disappoint by going back to that. Let me go over here.
Oh, cool. What about an anime or an animated movie for either series?
What about an anime or an animated movie of either series? I would be delighted with those because then they can pull up as much stuff as they wanted. And really, it wouldn't really cost them any more than not blowing it up. Which makes it a major difference from television, the way it's normally done. In my head, it's kind of an animated series anyway, as I'm writing it. And there are some moments where you can actually stop and say, oh my gosh, this is like an anime panel right here, what he's describing. And the answer to that is yes, it does. It's what it is in my head, I just have to write it down now. But let me go over here in Richard. You are expendable, sir. Is there any real or historical person, place that I want to interact present with that I have not? Yeah, several, but I'm going to use them, so I don't want to give too much away just yet. I've also considered going back and writing the French and Indian War in the resin verse, which would be really, really interesting because that's back when Ebenezer was a young hothead and most of the senior council guys were running around causing trouble at that point and dumb enough to get into the kind of things that Dresden does every book. And we'd have Sasquatches and the French and everything. It would be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Are there any clues for certain points in the book that you thought by now people would have picked up on, but have not yet?
Are there any clues or things in the book that I thought by now people would have picked up on, but not yet?
And what are they?
all the major plot stuff that I've done, pretty much somebody's picked up on all of it. Nobody's put them all together. But I mean, in each individual part, as things get revealed as the plot goes on in the future, you're going to have people who go, I called that, and they did. I mean, they would be like wrong on like 90% of the rest. But that part, yeah, they nailed it. And it's actually impossible to put together the big story too, because the guys who were researching the role-playing game did it. And were writing it in the book, and I had to tell them, no, stop that! You may not put that in the role-playing book, because you're giving things away that would be way more fun to get in the actual books. So don't do that, or I'll scream.